fucking kill my
So welcome to another GenPool Spotlight. I'm excited for this one. This is a little bit ad hoc, last minute kind of thing. But I'm here with my good friend Sean, and we're gonna talk to potentially one of the OGs of all OGs in the EOSIO space. If you like, seriously, dude, like when I met you, I didn't actually know who you were. You've been working behind the scenes. Everyone kind of knew who Kenny was in the early days, but I didn't, maybe because I'm on the opposite side of the world, piece together that you actually were the co-founder of EOSwriter. You guys did big.
Well, I didn't. To be clear, Kenny founded. He founded EOSwriter, and then I joined during EOSwriter and co-founded CryptoWriter.
Yeah. Okay. Sorry. So I had that backwards, right?
You might have said it right. Maybe I had it backwards.
you were quite influential in it. You guys ported over from that into big kind of voice thing where you were doing stuff over there. That kind of went to pieces. And then you launched CryptoFinney, and then now you're branching across blockchains. You've created this whole kind of branded conglomerate now in the crypto space where you're going to be. Where you're going to be launching the first kind of real art project and token on the EOS blockchain. So where to start? Well, I mean, I think that we got to start with your comedy in the EOS space.
I mean, I think EOS Popcorn was my was some of my finest work. I got in crypto 2015 or end of 2015, sort of fell down the EOS rabbit hole. And that's where I pretty much learned all my crypto knowledge from people a lot smarter than I within EOS. And it took me a couple years, or it took me a while to sort of find my voice. I started, I think I forget what my first article was for EOSwriter, but it was well received, and that's sort of how I met Kenny. But I think maybe I'll be remembered for EOS Popcorn.
So for people who don't know, what was EOS Popcorn, and then how was the reception? Because we might need that back.
So the EOS community was filled with some incredible characters. And because of EOSIO, right, you had these sort of competing chains between Telos and, oh god, I don't know what some of the other ones were, sister chains, side chains, whatever they were competing chains.
I think the hot ones were always like Lynx and Telos.
Oh really. Yeah, Lynx. It was always Fred and Doug, and and then you had this sort of, during that time you had this like tribalism, right? EOS was the ETH killer, so you had all that back and forth with the ETH community. Because they did feel threatened for a while. I know, there was a time period where EOS was taking market share from Ethereum, right? It didn't last. But you had all that, and then you had the rude mud crabs and people like Wreck Kid. Then you had the whole Block One dynamic. And I was always fascinated with the community dynamic more than anything, right? Because in Web3, it's everyone's got a voice and everyone can influence the direction of the chain. So I just felt like the EOS community was taking itself a little bit too seriously. Oh, there's Fred. There's Kurt Sweater, Max Dapp. There's Justin's room. He's got a pube on the keyboard. Our good friend Colin, or Colin and his ego. And then Rami, of course, right? Rami you know, these are amazing characters. And I think these are the people that made EOS special and made that time period amazing, because you had this convergence of so many characters and so much drama. But from my point of view, it was like, you know, crypto's serious, there's money involved, but like sometimes you gotta step back and like look at what's going on here and have a laugh. So I sort of saw EOS popcorn as like a mirror, right? Where the community after the week's drama could go back and look at themselves and look how silly some of this stuff is and laugh. And I remember at first, I remember certain BPs reaching out to me and telling me to cut it out, that it wasn't good for the the ecosystem. But you know, you sort of, after a while, you got this feeling like people learn to laugh at themselves. We're all in this thing together, and I think people really enjoyed it. You know,
Well, yeah, this is like long before I actually ever met you, but like from what I got, you know, in the channels that I was working at the time, you know, 90% of the people were laughing along with it, right? Like that's what media is. That's what California is, right? Like that's what like we've grown accustomed to that in the West. There was like 2 or 3 people I remember that got like super pissy at you for it, but like other than that, like everyone was, you know, kind of on board, and it was like a really good community thing. And like you said, you know, Rec Kid and Rude Mud Crab, if you've been around in the EOS space for a while, you know that the last thing that those guys do is hold their opinions back. So it was good, and you guys like rejuvenated it here and there. But
I think well, one other thing, I think I also saw it, and you know, it was hard to keep up with because obviously my attention started going other places. But I also saw it as like this timeline. You know, like how else were these things being documented in a more sort of cement form, right? Like you've got stuff on Twitter, but it just gets washed out, right? If everyone digs back in the archives and really wants to learn how EOS got from, you know, the Ethereum killer to like, you know, rock bottom, and then
right,
you know, it'd be EOS popcorn that would tell the tale.
well, yeah, if you go back at the older ones, it's quite fun too. So I like, but this is just you, right? Like this is you, this is your character. For people who don't know, some might not. You know, I first met Sean. We got you to come on camera. You'd never been on camera before, over on our Uplifters channel, and it was probably one of our favorite shows because you were there, and Bonds Manifest, who a lot of you know, he's a
Big
glass
shot
blower,
Bonds Manifest, yeah.
Right? He's a glass blower. He was a big in the EOS space, worked on a lot of different projects, and you know, you guys have met in real life. You know, you've had some fun in real life, but you proceeded to take the piss out of him, and he was in the comments, and he was really, you know, good about it. And I thought that was just hilarious. And so, you know, as time went on, you and I decided to spin up our own show called The Edge of Obscurity, which is fun, which we just go on and talk about whatever. It's not even necessarily crypto related. We're also doing a show called you know, Meta Effect that we just recently started. That's, you know, doing bi-weekly right now, but that's pretty fun. But like, you've been in the space with a lot of people, and we've seen a lot of these people move over to other blockchains and do other things, but you have had to adapt, you know, from the writer brand through voice into the journey of CryptoFinney, which was launched on EOS and Wax simultaneously. So tell us about that. What is the trajectory that led you to create, you know, CryptoFinney and essentially kickstart the whole MetaCollect brand?
Yeah, so, you know, in this space, you learn pretty quickly. It's like evolve or die. We, you know, when I joined Kenny with EOSwriter, you know, we always had sort of a big vision, and the vision was to, you know, drive blockchain adoption through the masses. And, at the time we were doing it through a community-driven publication, through educating community, helping onboard community. But with EOS, we saw at the time, we saw sort of the shift in the writing on the wall. We just believed that, it wasn't, when I got into the space, it felt like it was like a one chain was going to win all type thing. At least that's the vibe, right? The tribalism, right? You picked your team and you fought for that team, and you that. But at the end of the day, you start realizing that crypto is a vast and fascinating place, and rather than putting up walls, it's a better idea to build bridges, because it's not going to be a one chain win all, right? You're going to have all these chains, and one day they're all going to be connected some way, shape, or form. So Kenny and I, we wanted to expand outside of just EOSwriter. We didn't want to have all our eggs in one basket. So the idea for CryptoWriter was born, right? What worked for EOS, we kind of saw EOSwriter, like you look at CoinDesk, Cointelegraph, and these are all outsiders writing about price action and bigger sort of global stories. But there's all this innovation that's happening inside the community, and only community insiders really know about it. So someone could come to CoinDesk and read about EOS or another chain, but then when they got to that chain, when they arrived there, how are they going to learn about what's the real innovation, what's really going on? And that's where EOSwriter came on. And when we said, okay, if it's working for EOSwriter, why not have it work for all these other chains? So the original plan was to build a publication platform, where a community-driven publication platform where top content within communities, these various communities, would be elevated to the front page. And that was our idea. We spent like a year working on the pitch deck and really locking it in to build this platform. And just about when we were going to have our funding round, COVID happened. We weren't really sure, it's just a time of uncertainty. We weren't really sure how to handle it. And then our pitch deck got in front of Salah, who had just become the CEO of Voice at the time. And he saw it and he liked it. And he said, hey, rather than launch your own platform, why don't you launch your crypto publication on ours and work with us? The idea for Voice was that, in the same type way, Voice at Mechanism, you're elevating top content, but the idea was that over the course of 2 years, everyone from the publications to the content creators writing for them would be paid via the Voice token. So it seemed like a great idea to us. We had some funding. We could sort of find those writers and build our brand. And worst case scenario, we'd have learned a lot. We sort of built our CryptoWriter brand off. And we
retrospective worst case scenario is really good, by the way.
Yeah.
No, but in a way, it was the best case scenario. And I remember, I was super frustrated because, I was, I was working on other projects that were, simultaneously. I was connected kind of to Kenny at the time, and I was doing a little bit of writing for other projects on the writer platform, the original one. And I remember when you guys ported over to Voice and me being in Japan and not being able to get in there, but thinking like how incredible what you guys were doing was. And then it didn't materialize. It just kind of died, right? Like the whole kind of thing fell out of the bottom of it. And we don't have to go to a negative place, but it just kind of died, right? As a little bit of an aside, pay attention to what happened in Voice and what's coming, maybe 20 minutes down the road from this episode, because I think it's really interesting. But the concept of being able to upvote other people and do other things. And I mean, so you guys were able to kind of bounce back from that by getting into the whole NFT thing, but you did it in a different way. You weren't just releasing, NFTs at that point. You actually built the story around it. And I really like the story of how you guys came up with Finney. And so like there's a couple really influential people. I think Lars is really influential. And your developer, which I'll let you out because you love to do it, which is a very special person for us here at GenerEOS, because he's actually kind of I think he might have been the co-founder of GenerEOS before he moved on. So how did you go from voice not materializing to a fucking golden robot that plugs himself into?
so with the perceived future tokenomics of voice and how it was going to work, well, I'll say one thing. I got to give a credit to all our crypto writers, because they were the ones writing about NFTs, and they were writing about them at a time like long before, like you'd see things here and there on NFTs, but these guys were like, again, deep in these communities, whether Ethereum or wherever, and they were pumping out this NFT content. So Kenny and I are reading this stuff, and our wheels get turning a bit, and we started viewing NFTs as this awesome incentive reward mechanism, a marketing tool. So we started thinking, well, how can we use NFTs to drive engagement to our voice content, right? Thinking that in the future, voice tokens would stem from engagement, upvoting, all that stuff. So we were getting ahead of the game here. Like, let's start building this NFT product. And Kenny had this idea. Credit to Kenny. He's a genius in his own right to have a brand mascot.
I mean, we thought so, but it wasn't really him.
A lot of times Kenny will throw an idea by me, and I'm like, this just seems silly, right? But then if he's adamant about it, I'll start like, we work very well together and ideating and those types of things. So he had this idea for a brand mascot that would sort of drive this crypto writer brand. And we went to Lars and we're like, give us some concepts of what this, crypto writer brand mascot could look like. And Lars tells the story better than I do, but he had this guy with like a quill pen, and like the guy with the tire, just some stuff like that. And his like wild card was this Android boy, right? And both Kenny and I agreed that's the one. We went back to the community. What should we name this Android? And the concept was, this Android is like anyone, right? They're coming to this world of this new world of crypto. There's all this noise and all this information flying around, and it's difficult to navigate. So the concept was, through Finney, we would help other new people to crypto, like, navigate this brave new world and travel to different chains and do all these things. So I think I forget exactly who suggested the name Finney, an ode to Bitcoin pioneer Hal Finney, but it stuck. And so we're building, we've got Lars doing art for the first NFT release. We got all these things going on. And right when we're getting ready to like introduce Finney to voice and into the world, voice comes to us and says, hey, we're pivoting to become an NFT platform. We no longer need your long form content. And
my question is, when NFTs voice, because Finney's been rocking NFTs, you guys will get to that too, but you guys have been rocking NFTs for a few months now, and I don't still see any NFTs from voice. So
yeah,
I mean, hats off to you guys.
So, after, it was a kick in the nuts, like a really hard kick in the nuts, because we had spent enormous energy, right? We had bought into voice, and we spent enormous energy recruiting all these awesome writers and content creators and selling them on this idea of a future on voice. And that's not easy to start from pretty much zero and bring in. And we were up to like 40 something content creators. And just when you think you're going to start sort of moving over to this token incentive model and they cut the cord on us. So we're like, shit, what do we do now? We've got all these writers there. A lot of them are out of a job. We no longer have funding. We're running on fumes here. Like, how do we save it? And when you need money, what do? You have a free distribution, and that was where CryptoFinney entered. So the idea behind CryptoFinney, and I mean, CryptoFinney, I think was way ahead of its time. Finney was comic book styled art. CryptoFinney was pixel styled art. We wanted to do a randomly generated project. At the time, I don't think there definitely wasn't one on EOS, and I think maybe there was one on Wax, but it wasn't really well known or didn't do that well. We have found this awesome artist, John Trafford, on Reddit. He in some pixel art subreddit, and Kenny pulled him in. Like, he didn't know anything about crypto, and he started creating these pixel finnies. And then we were looking for a dev to help us out to do one of these random things. And I don't know how Kenny got in touch with Nathan Rempel, but he was into that sort of thing, and he was like, okay, cool. And so we built. So crypto.
I like how you call him Nathan Rempel. It's like, you know
Rempel.
how frustrated you know how frustrated you get when I call you Sean Ballent.
Rempel. But we wanted to build something cool. So originally we just were going to do a random drop, but then Nathan said, well, we could do something like this, or we can do these burn things, and it can create new things and upgrades. And then we got thinking, and it was crazy because we had done all the art, we're setting it up. Finney's come in these different metals. You burn 3 of the same metal to upgrade your Finney, and then you burn 2 of the upgraded Finneys of the same metal to upgrade your Finney to like the top Finney. And it had all these cool dynamics.
And it freaked me out, to be honest, because like I needed to burn a coin, and then I needed to burn 3 Finneys, and like I'm going into like atomic assets. And because you guys were on 2 blockchains at that point, you were on EOS and you were on Wax.
5,000
EOS and Wax coins, and then you had memberships. And so I was burning these Finneys. If I burn these Finneys, like what happens? Like, do they just go away? And like I was trying to. It's something that nobody had ever really done before, at least not that I had seen. Like the traditional idea is when you burn the asset, it's gone, and then when you burn the asset, it was gone because you had to refresh the page. And it was like every time you did it, it was like.
So
it's really good though.
A deflationary burn mechanism or deflationary burn upgrade mechanism was the idea, right? We wanted to like shrink the supply. And remember, like I said, it was a free distribution. I remember like the art was done. We were getting ready to launch it, and I actually had a good idea. And I'm like, because we're trying to figure out how do we distribute all these Finneys, okay? Like, how do you randomly distribute a bunch of random Finneys and make it cool? So I had this idea. I was in my mind, I'm like, well, what if we gave people a coupon NFT and you burnt the coupon and got the Finney? And, Cheney Moore and Kenny were on this call, and this is just like me when Kenny mentioned a brand mascot. Like, I didn't get it, but they didn't get it. They didn't get it at first. But then I'm like, look, we've got 5,000 of these coupons, and we can just start handing them out, right? And then it buys us some more time because we can activate this burn, and then you burn the coupon and get your Finney. And then that idea evolved into Finney Coins, which are those beautiful spinning gold coins, which you would burn and get your Finney.
Well, they only really spun on Wax, though. They never really spun. They
glitched on EOS. They still glitch on EOS, I think. They upgraded the thing on Wax. But so then we had the coolest thing about all this is we start handing out these Finney coins, and we don't just hand them out to anyone and everyone. We hand them out to people that were providing some sort of value to our community. So whether it was creating a good meme, or helping us promote, or people that were just there every day interested in talking or helping spread the word of Finney, like we were rewarding them with Finneys, and we started playing poker every night for Finney coins, all this stuff. The Finney coins sort of took on this life of its own, and people became addicted to burning them. But the coolest thing was, you're doing this, and the Finney coin is going up from $5 to $20 to $100, $150. The NFT keeps going up in value, and we've got a stash of these, right? The distributions to give them away. And all of a sudden, we can now pay our writers in Finney coins. So when they were making X amount working for us on voice, all of a sudden they're making 3 times that amount in the value of the Finney coin. So
I remember, like, I wanted to buy some uplift land at one point, and like the wax ones actually, and they came out of the gate strong, and you guys don't really have very many of those wax ones left, if I'm correct, right?
Yeah,
they're running down,
running low.
But you were also on EOS. There was a bit of a kerfuffle there, because you actually got delisted for a while for having things on 2 blockchains, but that got itself sussed out. You were one of the first projects to ever go, multi EOSIO chain, with Atomic, which was kind of cool. I remember like you giving me a hard time, because like you sent me a message and you're like, dude, you sold a Finney coin. But you don't believe in the project, and I'm like, dude, I needed to buy something. But it was good, right? Like, and I remember the hype that came out of the Finney community was something that was next level.
Well,
and no offense to the writer community, because the writer community was great, but that pairing of the Finney and the brand to that, if I look back at it personally, that's kind of where the MetaCollect story begins. And MetaCollect was nowhere in your minds at that point in time, but you came up with this great thing, this great burn mechanic, and you realized that you needed to do 2 things. The first thing that you needed to do, that you told the community about, was to jump on over to Ethereum. And burn some Finneys over there, so that like you could draw some attention to the Wax and EOS ecosystem. The second thing that you didn't tell the community about was you kind of launched a couple projects on other blockchains that people didn't know was you, until they did find out that it was you, which is really quite interesting, right?
Yeah, it's, again, I go back. We sort of had this big vision. We always we're going to be a chain agnostic project, right? We're there to build bridges. We wanted Finney not just to be landlocked on EOSIO, but to go other places. And we also needed to raise funding to do bigger things, because our vision has always not just been to be, tied to one chain. It's to be a recognizable brand across all of crypto. And, we definitely made some mistakes. We spread ourselves too thin.
That's funny, because like I think that you guys probably did everything right. When I look back in retrospect, like with the projects that I've been working for, like you guys did everything right. Like honestly, like you're my friend, and I'm not talking you up, but like I'm talking you up. You guys did everything right. Like we saw the trajectory that you took.
Yeah, I think where people went wrong is this idea of marrying a single chain, and they were gonna live and die by that chain. We never. That when I got into crypto, that's how it was. But again, Kenny and I sort of evaluated. We've always tried to stay true to our vision. Could we have done things better? Everyone can, but I know people developing in this space know that it's not easy because you're pioneering things. There's no handbook that says you should do this thing, or sometimes there's no rhyme or reason why one project takes off and why one doesn't, or why one project takes off and then crashes and one comes out of the gate slow and then takes off. Like, there's a lot of hard work involved. There's a lot of luck involved, in being at the right place in the right time. But we're gonna try, and we like relentlessly try to strive for our vision. So what we did, we went to Ethereum. We wanted to bring some of these cool upgrade mechanics, like the Finney upgrades and stuff we were seeing on Wax, like claim links. We wanted to bring that to Ethereum. So
these crazy unicorn Finneys that were launched only on Ethereum. You can
yeah, those are pretty wild. So we launched on Ethereum. I don't think our timing was particularly great, but it was a learning experience. And then we launched the Crunks on Terra, which Crunks are maybe the 6th project to ever launch on Terra, and that took off and did amazing. But then, it's been sort of a grind to. Part of the problem is what you realize is you go these different places, and like our community follows us to Terra, but then they get involved with other projects on Terra and they go off over here, which is actually pretty cool because that's the idea with Finney. Or we launch Underground, our art publication, and people get really tied to that. That
well, so like we actually haven't talked about this, so let me bring you back for a minute, because I think this is really interesting. At one point in time, I remember, and I remember not being able to figure out what the hell you guys were up to. I was on a show with you maybe once a week, and I was burning coins. We were giving some Finney coins away or whatever, maybe some other things that came on a weekly show. But you guys at one point, you were, I think, across 6 or 7 different social channels on 2 or 3 different platforms. Yeah. And you guys were like, this isn't working, right? So actually what you did, I think is quite brilliant. And I'm going to steal it and do it with other projects. But what you did was you took all of these things and you rebranded it into one place, which then kind of became MetaCollect. So now what you have is this MetaCollect brand that touches Wax, EOS, Ethereum, Finneys. You've also got the Underground, which stretches across 5 different blockchains. Tezos, Terra, Ethereum, Wax, and EOS. And then you've got the Crunks and the Mongs, in addition to the Finneys, which one is on Terra and the second is on Ethereum. And so you had all these things going, and then you brought it back and you tied it into MetaCollect. Now, this is where things get interesting, because what you did with MetaCollect is you didn't just bring it back to the same Discord channel. What you did was you decided, and I think it's actually really quite interesting, that you weren't on Pomelo pitch deck, because you're not doing a Pomelo grant. You're doing this all on your own without funding, and you're bootstrapping this from the ground to make sure that it works on your own merits first. But you guys are going to launch the first marketplace on EOS, and you're going to launch the Collect token, which is going to tie all of this stuff together. Yeah, which is pretty incredible. And it took me a couple days to wrap my mind around it, but people might not actually know what Underground is, and that's kind of an integral part. So can you maybe give an explanation of what Underground is and how it connects artists across multiple blockchains?
First, can you share the screen?
Oh yeah, sorry, I didn't even see it. I was talking. I don't share shit. I'm talking. So this is all you, right? Like
So here we are. We're on all these different chains. We've explored all these different chains. We've got different communities in different places. We've also, by this time, we have a NFT art publication that I'm super proud of, and shout out to NFT Joe and Edda and that whole team, called Underground. but we needed a way to like circle the wagons and bring everything back together. So what do? You launch a brand new brand, and the brand's called MetaCollect. And it was collect stands for collectibles, but I think it's evolving to become more of a collective of all our projects and eventually other projects. So you can see here on the screen there's Finney's and there's our Bored Ape. The Bored Ape.
So people, like, again, you always give me shit on our show for like, not telling people like what I'm actually thinking, because like nobody knows what's going on in your head. You guys have actually become so successful, or you've become successful because of it, I'm not really sure, that you guys actually went out and you bought a Bored Ape, and you picked up a Bored Ape for the IP rights, and you brought that into your collection.
Yeah. Right? So we've got all these, there's Mongs, there's Finneys, there's Crunks, and then these are some other gutter cats, some other things in our meta collective. But we needed a face. We needed a face for all this. We needed someone to sort of lead this thing. So we went out a few months ago and bought a Bored Ape, and there he is. He's Calvin. And it's amazing because yesterday Elon was tweeting about NFTs, throwing some shade at NFTs, and Calvin, our Bored Ape, tweeted back to him a snarky little reply. And if I would have tweeted from my Twitter account that same snarky little reply, I would have gotten about 4 likes. But because a Bored Ape tweeted it, it got 550 likes. So, it works, right? We saw that owning a Bored Ape comes with, you get this like mythical clout that comes with it in the space. And we wanted to leverage that to sort of lead our brand, right? To lead this MetaCollect brand. So we sort of circled the wagons. We have this MetaCollect brand, a NFT company that's aimed at the metaverse, and we brought all our projects together under one roof. And once we did that, we were like, okay, well, how are we really gonna find like great, or how are we gonna build synergy between these projects? So we decided to launch a token called Collect.
And like when you said like decided, you've been thinking about this for a while, but like I found out about this like 2 weeks ago. So like, just to put this in perspective, this is like groundbreaking news. Not a lot of people are aware of this, but the Collect token is coming out, and you guys had some debate, like, where do you launch this marketplace? Do you launch it on EOS? Do you launch it on Wax? Do you launch it somewhere else? But in the end, you decided that you're going to launch this whole thing on EOS first, which I think is pretty incredible, because you want to bootstrap the whole ecosystem to something that is better than EOS Popcorn, maybe. I don't know.
So, okay, so here's what we're working with now. We're getting ready to launch this token called the Collect token. And at first we were going to do something like a real simple Ethereum staking contract, but we got to thinking, we're like, that's cool, but we've got projects on EOS and Wax and Terra, and it's not fair to them if we just launch a token that only our Ethereum projects can access. So we got to thinking, and we got talking to Nathan, and this idea came up to launch this sort of hybrid token, a super flexible hybrid token. And what I mean by that is it's a virtual in-game token that you use within our platform and use it to access the various utility we're building. But if you want to sell it, you withdraw it, and it mints you the ERC20 version. Okay. You can also buy the ERC20 version, right, off Uniswap. You can deposit it into our rewards platform, and then you'll have the virtual version, which you can then have fun with. So how it works, it's pretty simple. You sort of like creating a Wax Cloud wallet account. You create an account using social logins. Then you connect any of your accounts that are holding our NFTs. So it'll start with your Ethereum addresses, and then quickly move on to Wax and EOS addresses that are holding Finney. And once you connect those addresses, you start earning the virtual collect token. And
right, so whatever assets you happen to be holding across connected blockchain accounts will filter back to the main site, and you'll be rewarded in those. Very similar to what we did over at the Uplift, where we've got these miners that earn you Upliftium. But the one difference that I think is really interesting with what you guys are doing, and this goes back to one of the previous problems that you guys had, but you're implementing a feature whereby if you actually don't come in and you don't engage with the network on a timely basis, then those rewards get reset to zero. Because what you want to do with the art, what you want to do with the with all of the projects, is you want to have an active, engaged community where you're not just giving out free things to people who bought in early. And I think that's a really interesting
squatters. Yeah. Yeah. So once you've linked your addresses and you start earning, you're required to make a soft claim every week, at least once a week. So there's an earning rate per NFT you're earning every week. You got to hit the claim button, which basically takes those tokens that have been accumulating and transfers them to your virtual wallet, which you can then use for the various utility. And if you don't make that claim, then those accumulated tokens go to zero and probably go to someone else. Only when you withdraw, though, does it actually mint the ERC20. So if you can share this screen, because we'll move on to how it factors in. So we've got this hybrid token idea. It's cool. We think it's going to be fun, but how do you provide meaningful utility? Okay. Now, every NFT project, most NFT projects follow this trajectory of, you have your mint, you do some sort of airdrop, right? You do some sort of, then the community's like, when utility, right? And people do stuff. They say game or they say, I don't know. It's not, in my mind, there's these like cliche steps, but we want to do something innovative with it, and do something different. So we had these ideas for, pretty much going forward, everything you do will require some collect token to access utility. So low hanging fruit are things like upgrades. There's a Mong right there. When we have our Royal Mongs upgrades, you'll pay X amount of virtual collect, and then you'll be able to upgrade your Mong. Something like governance, sort of easy, lower hanging fruit. Can
I just interject here? Because one of the things that I like about you guys is you've still got the distinctive brands across multiple blockchains. Like you just mentioned about the upgrading the Mongs, right? Like you can upgrade the Mongs, but in a sense, what you're doing with the Crunks, which is on different blockchain, is you're allowing people to essentially burn common Crunks and then get Crunk cars, right? So you've got these projects that are kind of connected under the MetaCollect brand, but they all kind of operate on different principles. Some of them are upgrade. Some of them are
they have slightly different mechanics,
right?
But we think the mechanics are sort of even, like they're fair, right? You're on one chain, you're not, or on one project, you're not able to do anything like well beyond what you're going to be. The idea is to sort of, you might elevate here, but you're trying to keep them all on a similar fair line. So we had these utility ideas, create this this multi-chain like NFT builder where we have our artists, they create these traits, you buy the traits and collect token, and then you can mint your NFT and you can mint it to different chains, things like that. And
okay, stop.
Okay.
Because like this is kind of important. This has never been done before, right? Like that I know of.
Not
usually what happens is you buy it and the NFT gets minted, and those attributes get thrown into the mix. But what you guys want to do, or what you were thinking about doing, or what the general idea was, is that there's a way for people to actually go in and customize their NFT with various traits. That's kind of huge in my mind.
It's been done before, but not in this flexible sort of scalable fashion, and not to where you have one universal NFT builder that you can mint to multiple chains. So we see it as like having these seasons, like you have season 1 is going to be this drop, and you can even do things like pull in, if we want to, you can pull in a crunk and it can become something else, right? A trait that you can then dress up and then, take it and go mint it over on ETH. Like it is truly going to be a multi-chain builder. So I don't think that's been done. Have people created builders? Yeah, but it's just a different sort of, like, all our projects have this this vibe going on, and were those builders tied to this virtual hybrid token where you can buy traits and it's not going to cost you transaction fees, and then go build this thing and then go mint it to Ethereum? I don't think that's been done before.
I personally jump on the line with you once or twice a week, and I'm a little bit like, I'm having trouble directing this conversation to where people who have never heard of MetaCollect can follow along. Because you guys, like, honestly, you're doing so much and it's ridiculous, right? But like, this builder is really interesting. The collect token is really interesting. But one of the questions I have to ask you before I let you go, it's really weird interviewing you, by the way, instead of just hanging out. One of the questions I have to ask you before you go is why EOS, right? Like, you guys started on EOS, and the crunks are on Terra, and there's a ton of people who are EOS OGs that have ported over to Terra because it did things that EOS didn't, right? Yeah. I mean, you branched out to the Ethereum space with the Mongs and the Finney Ethereum line. But you want to launch the collect token in the marketplace first on EOS. Why?
Okay, so as I was saying, we need this. We need some meaningful utility. For the last few months, you're looking at it now on Wax testnet, where we felt like on EOS and Wax, artists didn't really have a home for their NFTs. Sure, there's Atomic Hub, but Atomic Hub isn't built for artists, right? It's not really a home for artists. And we have this underground, this amazing NFT art curation publication. So we wanted to build a marketplace that connected to the publication. So we started building this marketplace a while ago. It's going to be super easy to mint, like super simple for artists to come and mint. It's going to display their assets in a real clean, sort of minimal way. It's going to be fun for
hey, what's that? The yellow dude.
Oh yeah, this is what I was going for. And there it is, folks. The Swingin' Jimmy Finney NFT.
No, not Finney. You keep doing that. You keep yelling at me for saying that, like, Mongs are on.
Swingin' Jimmy Crunk. There he is. Born in a small town, Swingin' Jimmy set off to tour the world. In the world he did tour. You name it, he saw it. A playboy for adventure at heart. But in the end, the simple Crunktown celebrity life called him home. And there he is, folks. Yeah, but so we're building this thing on one end, and then all of a sudden we're creating this collect token. And we're like, oh shit. Why not tie the collect token into the curation of the marketplace? Like, wouldn't that be awesome? Wouldn't it be awesome if you could use the collect token to elevate Swing and Jimmy up the feed? And not only would you have a chance to make some tokens by doing it, but the artist is making tokens and some tokens are getting burned. Wouldn't that be awesome? So then Kenny and I, our eyes got big and we're like, oh shit, this collect token, right? Our brand is tied to art in so many ways. We're building this art marketplace. And now we've got this token that is earned by our NFTs, which can then be used to tie into the curation, something that curation's like greatly missing from the NFT art space.
Okay, so let me stop you because there's a couple.
And I didn't answer your question.
There's a
why
couple.
EOS,
But it's all right. We can go
Okay.
on. There's a couple brains behind the mix that people in the EOS space might know. Who are the tech guys behind this that is making this work? Because this actually makes it make more sense.
Okay, so John Williamson, who we've had a history with, he was advising us way back when we were launching CryptoWriter. He's in Australia by Kenny. So John,
and if you don't know who John Williamson is, he's the person behind Violet Garden. He also sat on one of the recent Eden. I don't know what they call it, the championship ceremony pools or whatever the hell it is. But he kind of was the person that Dan Larimer said after the whole Block One shenanigans, this is what voice was supposed to be, right? Like, so he's creating this kind of thing that goes back to the voice scenario. So you've got him on board. You've got Nathan Rempel on board.
So Nathan was handling all the drops we were doing in the collect token, the whole rewards platform over here. And then we had John Williamson on the other side and his company building this marketplace. Recently, when we showed Nathan what John had been working on with Underground Marketplace, Nathan's eyes sort of lit up and he was like, okay, this is really cool. His brain started spinning on how we can now integrate the collect token into the marketplace. And we got them together and we had a great meeting and they sort of joined forces. And now the whole earn platform, all these things are going to be integrated into the marketplace. And
so essentially you have two of the top developers in the whole EOSIO ecosystem working together to bring
I wouldn't just say EOS token, right? These are like top, like, I mean,
yeah, they're top developers beyond EOS.
This is great talent.
Right. Yeah.
And we're blessed to have that. I wouldn't say that we chose them necessarily as they sort of chose us and super
Which,
great.
I mean, to that credit, it speaks for itself, right? Like we've rushed through your whole history here tonight, Sean. And like the people who know, but like the people who don't know, like we've really rushed through it. And so there's a couple things that I just want to clear up because people might not get it. What you're going to do with the collect token, with the art space, is quite incredible. I'm not sure if you're allowed to talk about it, are you? But definitely like plug in to the MetaCollect Discord. Drop the link for the MetaCollect Discord in the private chat, and definitely plug into what's going on with the MetaCollect community, because what's happening with the MetaCollect community is you've got 5 or 6 differentiated projects that have actually kind of come together, and they're all going to be kind of reworked and designed into this collect token scenario, whereby people who are engaged with the community will actually be incentivized to be more engaged. And one thing that we kind of like jumped over because you guys are doing so much, which I kind of want to touch base on, is if we go back to Underground, what's happening with Underground actually is you guys have, we didn't even talk about memberships, which is crazy because like half of your brand has always been memberships, right? You came from the CryptoFinney memberships, then you got into now you've got like kind of the Underground memberships. So the CryptoFinney memberships were burned and upgraded to the Underground memberships. But what the Underground memberships are doing across 5 different blockchains is Underground is actually actively going out and seeking great artists. And they're picking up art that is NFTs across the market, and they're dropping them randomly to Underground membership holders. And this is quite incredible when you think about it, because when you break it down, what you guys are doing is you're supporting art, right? You're supporting artists across 5 different blockchains. And again, I don't know anyone who's doing that. So it's pretty incredible that you're doing that. And the fact that that membership grants people the ability to get that art is pretty amazing. But what's more amazing is you guys are actually using your own funds to be able to go out and buy these NFT art pieces from these people to be able to drop to your community members. And so you're supporting artists by dropping to the people who hold these memberships. And when you tie that collect token into that whole scenario, that's when things start to get really exciting. So I would definitely go and check out the Discord. I don't want to get, I'll put the comment here. A very beautifully color-coded Discord that has about 5 different brands across there.
Thank you. Yeah, and it is pretty.
And follow what's going on here, because this is like groundbreaking stuff. This is not like, oh, we're on EOS, oh, we're on Wax. We're across 5 different blockchains. We're supporting artists, we're supporting pixel artists, we're supporting PFP projects, and we're kind of gonna kill it.
We were 5 sort of separate entities. We circled the wagons, and now we're gonna like really lock everything together through the Underground marketplace and the collect token. What I will say, I do want to answer your question though. Why EOS? Why are we launching this marketplace on EOS first? And while I don't consider myself married to EOS anymore, it's always sort of been in my heart. Like a lot of us, it's where I learned so much from my EOS experience about crypto and blockchain, and even things like integrity and beyond, and met so many awesome people. It's a long list. So we always sort of, regardless of if we've gone other places, we always have had EOS in our hearts and have wanted to do something to EOS. But besides that, there is really nothing that that EOS outsiders would consider cool about EOS. There are no real products on EOS that people on the outside are looking in and saying, hey, that is cool, I want to check that out. So we've always wanted to build something on EOS that, EOS, anyone who spent time in the EOS community, so much time has been spent arguing how to do things that nothing ever seems to get done. So one reason, right, because there's nothing there, we want to sort of create this diamond in a rough, because we feel that EOS, with its, fast, nominal, feeless transactions, is exciting place to build a marketplace, right? It's going to be fast. It's going to be moved. We can do cool shit with that. We think EOS, as efficient as it is for artists who are looking for a way to enter the NFT space, they're going to appreciate some of that, right? We know EOS super well, so we're going to be onboarding artists and sort of funneling them in there. But I really think it's just, it's like a diamond in the rough. When we launch this thing and artists start coming in, there's nothing else to compete with there. Artists on Wax that have been on Atomic Hub or Nefty and don't feel like those are really homes for their artwork, it's going to be real easy to convert them over to Underground on EOS. So we're going to try it on EOS first. Eventually, we want it to be a multi-chain marketplace. We're going to open it up to Wax and then to Terra. But we kind of want to start narrow and grow wider with time, and we'll see how it goes. But super excited. I think EOS really needs Underground, something cool, something colorful and vibey. And I think the community we bring in is going to be a lot of fun. It's going to bring some new life into a chain that I think desperately needs it. Also, with all the work going on in the back end with the ENF and EVM and all those things, I think our timing could be pretty good. But yeah.
Yeah, I'm excited, and like I just have to do this too, because like, this is in a sense, this might be one of my favorite things in the whole of the Uplift world, because you guys have just been, you've been attracting incredible talent to your projects and what you do. I mean, you've got some crazy Twitter spaces that are going off with the Mongs. You got a really strong Crunks community, which we engage with weekly. You've got the Finney brand, and you've got a bunch of projects that have kind of like come out of the poker days that have like kicked off, their own things, which is quite interesting. But shout out to the people who've been attracted to you, because I think for me, this is really telling. You guys had an image from your comic that was one picture, and somebody decided to come into the Uplift world and create this out of one picture. And this is your Uplift World headquarters for Shift City. So I really just kind of want to play it and show you guys how talented the people that are working with the MetaCollect crew are.
Pretty cool, man.
If you don't know what you're looking at, go and check out.
Go to Finney.world.
Go and check out the early Finney. Go and check out the early Finney comics, and there's a photo in there of Shift City, and the person who built that did it off of a 2D photo, and they did an incredible job. So
yeah,
I don't know. I honestly, I feel like I'm gonna totally bust your balls tomorrow when we go live for Edge of Obscurity, because you only really dipped your baby toe in the bucket of what you guys are doing. You didn't do a very good job at explaining it, but seriously, go sign up to the go sign up to go sign up to the Discord. Check out what MetaCollect is bringing to the EOS and the EOSIO space, and all of the other places that we're involved in, and get involved. I don't care what blockchain you're on. But I think that you're going to want to have some assets, and you're going to want to play into this collect token idea, because I think what you guys are doing is really the epitome of what EOSIO, in a sense, set out to do. Originally, if we go back to the early parts in this video, EOSIO was going to be the Ethereum killer because it was going to collect, it was going to collect all blockchains into one. It was going to be able to scale them all. It was going to be able to do all this better. And we diverted into this tribalism. And in a way, you guys as OGs in the space, with what you're doing now, is kind of bringing all of that tribalism back and filtering things from other blockchains into the powerhouse technology that is EOSIO, and EOS in particular. So, I mean, hats off to you guys. Hats off to everything that you've accomplished. Definitely go and plug things in to what these guys are doing. Again, the Discord link is the last thing in the stream. And go hang out. I mean, get some Finneys, get some collect tokens, and let's see this awesome underground marketplace MetaCollect token launch on EOS, and well, bring EOS into the new and brilliant world.
You cutting it there, Jimmy, or are you still rolling?
I'm still rolling, but like I probably should have got it there. Now, in retrospect, do you have any final words for us, Sean?
No, well, yeah, of course I do. It's been a journey. We're grateful for all those who have been a part of our journey and been patient with us, because it's never easy to build in this space, and it takes time, it takes money, it takes a lot of people, and more than anything, it takes a community, a village. So just thanks for all the support, if you've been supporting us, and if you haven't, hey, we're happy to have you and make you a part of our journey.
Thanks for joining us. We'll see you all on the next GenPool Spotlight.